Welcome back to the Smite Masters. We've got our final set of the day right now with Paradigm versus Soar. Are you guys excited? All right, let's get things started with our casters for this set, F-Dot and Zimstar.
Thank you very much, Amanda. What a wonderful time we just had, and we're getting ready to go as well. Paradigm versus Soar. This one should be interesting, a little bit close to your heart, huh?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this one for sure. Paradigm, my old teammates going up against Soar. However, without Trixtank, it's going to be very interesting to see if Kalas can adjust to a competitive setting for the first time.
That's right. Trixtank not going to be available. He's at home working on his studies. It's the end of his collegiate career, so he's trying to finish it off on a good note. And Kalas is going to try and make this one finish off on a good note. Problem is, they're going to go up against some of the fiercest competition that North America has to offer. Soar has looked very, very strong this season.
Soar looking very strong. I must just add to the Paradigm part here that I know for a fact Trixtank is going to keep playing after his studies. So entire summer moving forward is going to be focusing entirely on the game. So we'll see maybe a stronger Paradigm next split.
So Paradigm, they're ready to fight, they're ready to play. Why don't we take a look at the individual players representing the crown? It's the yellow and black themselves. Starting in the solo lane as usual, it's the Trickster, it's Xaliea. He's going to be supported by the jungler, none other than Qvofred himself. Then you've got Big Daddy Emil. It's Lawbster rocking that mid lane. And then the dual lane, like we said, no Trixtank. Instead, it's Kalas. That's Coach Darren, by the way, Dazer. And of course, the man with the plan, it's Funball. He's ready to rock. He'll be playing in that Hunter position, locked in, ready to go. Paradigm's got a lot to offer, and these guys, they're looking pretty strong.
Looking very strong indeed. However, let's go into Soar here.
So Soar, these guys are straight out of North America. It's arguably one of the best solo laners in the world. It's Woody Kim, it's Baskin himself. He'll be helped out by the jungler as well. You can see him, his little Homiefe right there. He's gonna rock out with the mid laner. You've got Hurriwind, he'll be trying his hardest. And then of course the dual lane, it's Jigz. You've heard him, that's the captain, that's the support. And then right next to him, you've got the Hunter, and that's gonna be Metyankey, the Long Island native himself. Gotta mention that one. And these two guys, these two teams gonna go head to head. Should be very, very exciting to see some top caliber talent go head to head.
And we just, everyone just probably saw how determined Jigz is to make an impact here, as the statements he made in the Vice documentary preview that we all saw. So looking forward to see what he can do with the substitute Kalas in the dual lane.
Exactly, I'm very excited. Jigz brings a certain air. For those of you guys that didn't see it, Vice has been doing a documentary on it, and they asked him a couple of questions, one of which, you know, who do you look up to and whatnot. He basically said, look, I don't look up to anybody else but myself. We're gonna win, and we'll see everybody else in second place. This is where he puts his money where his mouth is. It's up to Soar to go ahead and actually soar above Paradigm right here. Like you said, Kalas is probably really the big focal point here. He's newer. What do you know? What can you tell us about Kalas? Because the guys on Paradigm have actually spoken very highly about him.
Kalas, an excellent rank player, known for his versatility when it comes to picks, very aggressive rank player, and that's why they picked him up. However, again, there's some questions about, you know, how we can actually manage against a team like Soar in the LAN. And I just want to stress this, because being in a team like Paradigm, right? So you don't, not only do you have 4 other guys that, you know, also new, so you kind of like new as a group, and if you do, well, not that well, it's fine. You did it together. If you're alone in a team with experience like Paradigm, I mean, this is a team that's been playing in TSM and Fnatic previously, multiple LANs. It's going to be hard because he has all the pressure on him right now, right?
Exactly.
There's no one to share the pressure with.
With that said, I mean, you know the Paradigm guys very well. They're not exactly hard-headed. They're not exactly the guys that are going to shut you down. And like I said earlier, I was speaking to the Paradigm. All right, maybe a little bit different. You're feeling different?
The thing is, I know Trixtank is a huge pillar in this team. And
that's true.
I have a feeling, you know, Qvofred and Lawbster rely a lot on Trixtank's calls to actually make this team work. And the past few weeks, we've seen Trixtank go from that overly aggressive support.
Right.
I mean, he's still aggressive, but now he's actually peeling for his backline, which is a huge deal. And hopefully, you know, Kalas can kind of tick off where Trixtank left off. But, you know, sure, I won't say, you know, they're going to tilt or blame him for anything, but they might, you know, be a little bit unsure whether they should follow his calls or not.
So it's all about the confidence in the teammates and wondering if it's actually going to be there. You know, I was speaking to the guys earlier. They said that his comms are very, very strong. One of the things that he brings is similar to Jeff Hindla, if you've ever heard him speak on formerly Cloud9 and now Luminosity. What he brings, he really dictates not necessarily the shot calling big picture, but the individual, the individual team fights. He'll just say, hey, I'm looking for this taunt, I've got this taunt, follow up now, and really just give sort of traffic directions in the interim of those mid fights. So where Trixtank brings the big picture shot calls, this is where Colossus is going to micromanage all those team fights, and the shot calls are going to wind up elsewhere. Paradigm, who's that going to land on?
Sorry?
Who's going to be the shot caller for Paradigm?
Oh yeah, so it's going to be most like a Lawbster here, taking the Papa Emil role, you know, for the team. Very seasoned player. He's, I think, one of the oldest European Smite players, if I'm not mistaken. He's up there with Lasses, for sure. They're going to rely on Lawbster to make the calls here. However, I know that Qvofred has been trying out to be the main shot caller for Paradigm. So we'll see if they can actually, you know, make a change where they can just move his guys around and use Kalas as a kind of like a piece in his chess game that is Smite.
Exactly. I mean, and that's one of the things that I think benefits this team very well. As I said, Coach Dazer standing behind the squad, going to help them set up everything and see where everything goes. These guys on Paradigm have been a unit for so long that transitioning one player in, as vital as Trixtank is, it's not as difficult as maybe a newer team, right? Because you're still trying to figure out what everybody else's role in the squad is. Paradigm know exactly what everyone's role is here. So to substitute Kalas in, they know that you're losing a big piece of Trixtank, but it's a little bit easier to put another player in the spot when everybody knows their role.
How do you think Soar is going to adapt to it? Do you think they're going to put more focus onto the dual lane for this very reason?
Actually, not necessarily. I think a lot of teams would do that, but specifically with the support and knowing the way that Soar plays, Soar very much want to play their own game. Baskin really knows exactly what he wants to do in that solo lane, and the squad know what they want Baskin to do, and the rest of the team as well. I think Soar's going to focus more internally rather than externally.
Interesting, we talk about Trixtank, and we can't help to mention Hurk here. We've seen Baskin play Hurk in SPL before. Do you think that's something you crank out in this situation?
I actually do. Baskin's Hercules is very, very strong. In fact, Baskin's anything can be considered very, very strong. He has one of the widest god pools, I think, in North American Smite at the very least, and bringing this to the international stage should be very strong. That's Kalas right there, and you can already see him talking. He's a part of the pick ban phase, which I think is very important, that they're not isolating him out.
The Bacchus ban, I know for a fact that he loves to play Bacchus in ranked. He's very notorious for his aggressive Bacchus plays, and Soar absolutely did their homework. We see the Sobek ban going out here. Very good call, because Jigz is 9-0 in the SPL using Sobek. So they make sure, you know, a little bit of respect here.
Exactly. Soar's done their homework with the Bacchus ban, and Paradigm have done their homework with the Sobek ban. But in that, Soar are going to be able to pick Raijin first pick. This pick has been a little bit tumultuous when you look at the big picture for SPL, but when it comes to Hurriwind, he's been very powerful.
And when it comes to Zeus, he's almost interchangeable with the word Lawbster here. He was very known for his Zeus during Season 1 and Season 2. So, you know, very seasoned Zeus player. And Zeus is way stronger now that his shield works differently. It's way easier to confirm the damage and make sure that you do enough damage to everybody else before you go down.
And Zeus's major problem is how susceptible he is to death. You look at him, he falls over. Surprise, Khepri is going to be rocking with Paradigm right there. And here's the deal. Not only is Khepri fantastic with Zeus, but Khepri's fantastic with Jigz. Personally, I think Jigz is the best Khepri in the world.
Khepri is on the side of Kalasto.
There you go. So taking that away from Jigz is going to be a very good call. So Paradigm will put that on their side, and Jigz won't have it available.
Yeah, so Odin here picked up. This is interesting because this could be Xaliea and this could be Qvofred. We're talking a lot about how hard it is to ban out Panthera. Paradigm, you have Kronos, you have Cabrakan, you have Odin, you have all these guys. Even Guan has been played by Qvofred in the jungle, and by Trixtank and by Xaliea. So it's really hard to predict where these guys are gonna go when they actually pick him. So Odin here, you don't really know if it could be a jungle, it could be a soul lane, and then it's kind of hard to pick your soul lane on the side of Soar and try to, you know, base it off of that.
So with the second round of bans coming out, Paradigm's going to take Osiris off of the table. They don't want Wunikim playing that one, and Fenrir will not be an option for Paradigm.
Interesting ban there on Osiris. We haven't seen much Osiris by Baskin in the SPL. He'd much rather go for the Ravana or the Bellona. Interesting enough, we see the Fenrir ban outside of Soar. Could that be towards Qvofred? I would assume so.
Yeah, I think it's less about Qvofred specifically and more Soar trying to get a specific play style out of the way. Fenrir being able to pick somebody up in the mouth and then put them either in the Odin cage or the Zeus Thunderstorm. It's just not a good situation. Is Qvofred the best Fenrir in the world? Irrelevant. That god is just going to be tough to deal with.
Yeah, we've also seen Xaliea play Fenrir in this solo lane before. I don't think in this case, though, that's going to be the...
I love this band, though.
Yeah.
The Hunbats is a fantastic character. It's going to counteract a lot of what Soar wants to do. And then Qvofred is a fantastic Hunbats. With that said, with the bats off the table, you're just giving Qvofred the Cabrakan that he wants. You see how quickly that was locked in?
Again, this could be Cabrakan on Qvo, but it could also be on Xaliea and put the Odin inside the jungle. That Odin-Zeus synergy in the mid lane, and for specifically the mid camps, is insane. If you have a Khepri there to make sure it's okay, Zeus gets his all his stacks down, right? Maybe he dies before detonates. I mean, with all had that happen in ranked games or casual games, whatever. Khepri revives you, you still have those charges. You can just detonate as you spawn. And just, again, all your cooldowns up, another round of lightning bolts coming in.
Ravana will be the solo lane pick for Soar, so we're going to see Baskin on that character. That works out very well. Just Baskin's going to be able to be hyper-aggressive, stand in lane, and just literally fight you, and that's exactly what Anhur is going to do as well. This character will reach his peak during the mid-game, and it's also something that will allow Metyankey to take the fight directly to his opponent.
My eye is here on Baskin for this game, for sure. He's going to be up against Xaliea. Xaliea used to be considered one, if not the best solo lane at one point in time. This was a long time ago, however. He's not really been showing that much of his old self. Maybe the meta changed towards, you know, this warrior heavy. I know for a fact he doesn't really like playing warriors, doesn't like playing the tanks. He likes to play those assassins, right? So that's why you don't really see him shine as more as he used to. I love the fact that Baskin has Ravana, because that means he's just looking to, you know, hit his face all day.
Just straight up SM or going for it. Rama on the other side for Paradigm. This is a great pick for Funball.
Great pick for Funball. I must say, Paradigm's team fight here is very, very potent. You don't want to find yourself in an Odin cage with his Zeus ultimate going down, and on top of that, a Cabrakan just pounding around behind you. It's going to be very hard to get out of there. If you don't have a leap, you're pretty much dead.
There's a lot of control that Paradigm have, whether it be slows from Ram, the nonsense from Cabrakan, the cage from Odin, to keep them in the sights of Zeus. And so Paradigm really going to be leaning on Lawbster to do a lot of that damage. Whereas Soar, they've got the Nemesis, so that usually dictates an all-in composition, but with the Guan Yu, they've got multiple options.
Interesting thing here. So Odin is a really good pick up against Guan Yu, because, you know, you can cage in the Guan Yu. Here's the problem, though. If you get Nemesis and Guan inside the cage, Nemesis can just ult to you, and the Guan Yu all of a sudden is going to do a lot of damage to you, especially with Total Assault, shredding your armor even further. You're almost taking true damage at that point, especially during the mid-game. So has to be a little bit careful on how he engages if the Nemesis ultimate is available.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit tough as we see these teams go right head-to-head. We're going to get into it, folks. The Nemesis is who we're going to be starting up on. This is our last match of the day. The winner of this will go on to the semifinals. Homiefe already being targeted right now. Qvofred will be the Cabrakan player, and we'll see Xaliea in the short lane. Worth noting, Lawbster's going to be starting on that purple pot with the Zeus, and he'll be met by Hurriwind, purple pot Raijin.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think Raijin has the edge on the clear, especially up until about level 3, where Zeus starts to get a bit more, you know, his shield is out, he can apply those detonate stacks a bit faster to the wave. Shouldn't be a big factor here, though. I think they really have to respect the Zeus in these small corridors in the jungle, because if this bounce starts bouncing around with the pot active, it's too much damage, I think, to handle early game. So just be careful a little bit here. Yeah,
Paradigm definitely going to want to take some superiority and dominance over the mid Harpies. So definitely look to see the characters sort of flex around those areas. Metyankey, Hurriwind, and Jigz going to group up on the left side. And so Jigz on this Guan Yu. As I said, Jigz has a very protective way of playing. He does well in the Sobek, but really I associate him with Khepri and gods that want to help the team out in that way.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Guan Yu play here. His heal is extremely strong, especially if you do get 1 or 2 picks and your team is, you know, a little bit low. You can just keep healing them and go for those objectives, which is spamming out the heal, especially late game when you have a lot of mana to pull from.
So Jigz right here on the Guan Yu. One of the big things that Guan Yu has is the clear. He should be able to help out. Lawbster, though, able to poke out Hurriwind a lot as well. Even the chain lightning, Hurriwind just standing in it.
So I was wrong. I mean, Lawbster, the god, just manages to clear the entire wave really fast. I think the shield, he expected the shield level 2 instead of the detonate, which was really, really smart.
Tough stuff. Metyankey grab. Tallow Assault to get the enemy off of the Hunter. Metyankey should be fine. Hurriwind should be fine, but that's a problem. If Soar's going to keep saying we should be fine as they're taking a lot of poke, eventually it's not going to go their way. So Paradigm with a lot of lane dominance so far.
Yeah, I mean, sure, Guan's heal is going to stop some of that poke, but early game is only about a 46-50 heal. Not really even worth the mana in some cases. As we see,
Xaliea.
Xaliea very low here.
Oh, this is going
He's
to be
dead.
trouble. Couple more hits. Baskin looking for the first blood early on. And
He's
there
dead.
it is. Baskin from Long Island with the first blood.
As we mentioned before, I mean, I'm looking at Baskin to win this game for Soar. Xaliea down a kill.
Here comes Qvo.
Qvo.
And he's going to turn it around. Qvo can't find the last
root,
hit.
though.
Now Qvo cutting off the escape. Love the pathing, but just not enough. And Xalia's back already, and it's going to send Baskin back to base.
This sends a lot of information over to Soar 2. They know Qvofred is in the soul lane, which puts all the pressure out of mid lane and the dual lane. After this clear, I suspect they're going to go pretty aggressive here on the Funballer. I should see it right here.
Yeah, Funball's the one getting aggressive, just giving it to Jigz. Half HP already for the support. You saw that. Jigz, like you said, they were going to get aggressive on Funball. That's exactly what they did. But it just didn't bother him at all.
No, it didn't bother. He just hit back and realized, you know, he's pretty strong. Anhur is a better early game god than Rama, say. It's just that, you know, unfortunately, advanced there was a little bit of creeps left over, and Jigz took a few hits.
So here we have the lane dominance going the way of Paradigm. No lane freeze, though. Just quick push, so that allows the characters to go into the jungle and look for more.
If I'm Qvofred here, I would be a little bit worried about Baskin on the Ravana snowballing too much, because if he gets ahead on level, you know, where you can't really kill him anymore, it's very dangerous indeed.
Baskin now proxy farming behind the enemy tier 1. Not a care in the world here for the level 5 Robin. As you said, this character is one of these characters that snowballs really well. We see the early Ichval, and that allows Robin just to sort of get very, very quickly ahead.
And that shield on the passive too really helps him in the trades. So if you get shield up and you just trade, you can just win the trade for free. Odin, no real sustain other than all the pots he bought, but you know, those cost gold.
Exactly. Just a little bit, though. But that's how you start out with. So now, Colossus, if you want to take a look at the pods, you got 3-2, and then Jigz just 1-1. Everybody's getting aggressive. There's an ultimate. There's 2. And Hurriwind finds a second kill for Soar. And he was getting poked out early, but now he's doing the poking. Hurriwind in the mid lane winds up with 1 for himself.
Kalas there about, you know, just 2-3 seconds too late. If he actually got there in time, that could have been a turnaround, because Lawbster didn't get his detonate off. If he was able to be there maybe 2 seconds earlier, get the ulti off, Lawbster would have respawned, and it would have been a totally different fight. But now, you know, on the back foot again, 0-2 against Soar.
Xaliea gonna get rooted, Xaliea gonna get punched, dropping the cage.
Qvofred over there, extra rotation.
Baskin should be fine. The ultimate's already used, though, so no more escape. And Baskin's gonna be able to start looking towards the enemy.
Yeah, Qvofred is coming in with a chic bit of clear here just to make sure Xaliea is all right. As I said before, they have to be careful in the solo lane. You don't want Baskin snowballing. You will see him carry games alone in the SPL. Very, very strong player. However, it's going to be hard to gank him at this point because of his ultimate. If he just keeps that up, it's very tricky to kill a Ravana.
You know, you mentioned something right there, and I love the way you phrased it. You said Baskin tends to carry games in the SPL. Here on the international stage at LAN, what can you tell me about the difference between the regular season games and here in the postseason?
So when you sit on the LAN and you're a player, I can kind of see myself in Kalas' position right now. I think the rest of Paradigm are pretty unfazed of what was going on.
Sure.
They have a history of being really inconsistent on LAN environments. Usually it's their drafting. The drafting at Worlds was really off. I think Dazer worked on those. I think the drafting here is fine.
Agreed.
It's just some misplays. Again, if Kalas was there just a second earlier, that was probably a double kill for Lawbster because he would have come up, detonated everything. If you're sitting here on the LAN and it's your first time, you're going to do mistakes you wouldn't normally do because you're not sitting at the comfort in your own home, and you have all this pressure around it. Like I mentioned before, you have a full team of very experienced players looking for you to save their ass when they're low.
Exactly, and I mean, not just that. There's also the whole thing. What are we playing for, right? An individual game in the SPL where you're playing for a win, a little bit of money. Here, $250,000 on the line, and Soar looking to boost their gold. Nobody knows. Paradigm had no clue whatsoever, and that's going to be a free gold here, ladies and gentlemen, for Soar, and that'll put them 2,000 gold in the lead.
I had a conversation yesterday with Eager over dinner, and they mentioned to me just how many Gold Furies Paradigm are losing.
Yep.
And I said, no, that's old Paradigm. That's Season 1 Paradigm. They fixed those issues. Here we see yet again another Gold Fury going completely for free.
Despite the fact that there's so much vision on the left side of the map, you can see Paradigm just dropped that one. Homiefe on the left side. Gonna opt to come in a little bit safely. Couldn't find the aggressive stance onto the enemy, so no ultimate coming out just yet from Homie.
So 2-0 now with a Gold Fury down. I don't really know why they didn't even try to poke him out. It was only 2 players actually going for the Gold Fury. They had vision on it. Maybe the call was that, you know, we can't really give him any more kills. Just give him this early Gold Fury, which doesn't matter that much. I mean, it still matters a lot, of course. But if 1 or 2 kills also go the way of Soar, that's probably a tier 1 tower on the left side. So that means, to me, that Paradigm is a little bit scared to fight.
Baskin just dominating this lane right now. Anytime Xaliea even gets a chance to look at the minions, Baskin's just able to go ahead, root, and just hit him in the face. So a lot of experience and gold being denied to the enemy solo laner coming out from Baskin.
And I know exactly, oh, here we go with an engagement.
Trouble for Colossus. There's the ultimate from Zeus, dropped down, and Hurriwind and Jigz have to find a way out. So does Homiefe, and he's used the double dash to go on and get out.
Rama?
Not gonna find any.
No, he spared him out. He just opted to just, you know, shoot him around for some more damage. I was gonna say, I know exactly how Xalia's comps are looking like right now. Oh, they got engagement.
Taken out, Homiefe right there. There's the kill for the Hunter, but here comes Baskin. He's all by himself, jumped on in. Great stun by Qvofred, and that's gonna separate the solo laner from the rest of the game. So Paradigm wind up with their first kill. Looking to turn it into more Xaliea. Baskin's trapped here. It's actually a fantastic spot for the support and the solo laner.
Xaliea can't find it.
One more hit. Xaliea needs to find it, but here comes Raijin. Beautiful bait, but the jump is good enough. And Xaliea finds number 2. This game is tied.
So yeah, now Paradigm 2-2. I was about to say there, Xaliea probably a little bit salty in the solo lane. He's not getting more help for Qvofred. I know the comms are going to be something like, this guy is proxying me, he's diving me on the tower, I can't even farm because I'm losing all these creeps to the tower. Xaliea finds the kill, and this is gonna be huge for him. This means now he can pick up some more armor, he doesn't have to care so much about the Ravana anymore. As to, you know, you see how much damage Ravana did to him before, now he can be a little bit more relaxed and just, you know, do his thing. Xaliea is still a very good player, and
very much so.
This is gonna give him some leeway.
And so that'll go ahead and sort of even out some of the experience differential between our 2 solo laners. The gold, still 500 gold in the way of Baskin, so definitely something to think about here. Here's a 3-on-2 invade. Blue buff goes the good way, but there's an ultimate from Homiefe. Qvofred trapped a little bit, up with the horse and down. Jigz gets credit for taking out Qvofred, and Baskin happily hops into lane.
Yeah, he found himself in a really rough spot there inside the blue buff area. As you all know, Cabrakan has no escape, so that just meant certain death for him.
Colossus gonna go ahead and miss the abduct, so no pluck onto the jungler. Homiefe walks away pretty safely. And yeah, Xaliea got some help before, but looks like he needs it again. Back to his old tricks. Baskin's gonna be proxy farming behind the tier 1.
The thing is with this, you know, some people might wonder why is it doing this? It's because Xaliea can't really. So if Xaliea pushes up to the lane to prevent the tower from shooting the minions, nice.
This is trouble though. The ring catches Baskin in. No overhead kick available. So that's a lot of poke being put onto the solo.
He might take this blue buff and actually go back and try to bait Xaliea, because if he actually evades the bird bomb combo, they can easily turn on Xaliea because he has no more mana, right? So you can't even slow him down. I was about to say here, the proxy is very efficient because it forces Xaliea to go up the lane to farm, which exposes him to Nemesis, and you know, Baskin can easily just ulti over the tower and go hard on the Xaliea. So it forces Xaliea to farm in tower and lose probably 1 or 2 minions every wave.
Baskin doesn't even have that much HP, but he's still able to stay in lane and be relatively aggressive. Finally, we'll see Baskin go ahead and back. No teleport available, so he'll be taking the long way back to lane.
Metyankey, they're trying to find a stun pillar combo onto Funballer. Won't find it though. Funballer with his ultimate available. I'm pretty sure Metyankey could win a 1-on-1 fight here if he wanted to. Funballer, though, very good hunter, knows his limits. I don't think he's gonna try to fight Metyankey anytime soon. I've touched on this before. He has a very similar style to Emilito onto Plethora, where they try to just farm for the late game. None of these are Zapman style carry hunters or reels even.
Oh, there's a pluck on the Jigz, mid-tallow assault, but Colossus is the one that's being turned on. Hurriwind right down the hallway, gonna unleash the ultimate, but no final hit until Metyankey shows up and takes out Colossus. All of Soar gonna keep on going, looking at Lawbster. There's an ultimate, and the slow will be purified, but Baskin doesn't care. Under the tower, overhead kick. The Qvofred answers right on back. Funball launches 2 on the Homiefe. He's kind of stuck, but Qvofred gonna be fine, following him just a little bit. But look at the Cabrakan, the ultimate's down, so no options, and Homiefe will be able to
no shield, but a leap available, so he's gonna be just fine there. Homiefe could have potentially overextended a little bit there, but he probably has to shield up anyway, so that's completely fine. I was about to say here, these hunters, at least I know Funballer just wants to farm for late game. That's where it really shines, right? So I think Metyankey is just trying to try to force an engagement. We see Funballer though, 300 gold ahead.
Yeah, Funballer has been very powerful here, and that's really what he wants to do on the Ram, is just sort of wait, sit ahead, couple of gold, and just wait. Metyankey on the Anhur is certainly looking for the engagements, but as you said, not really going to take anything that's not necessarily there. He's not a Zapman, he's not a Pandicot, he's not looking for the 1v1s, he's not looking for those individual engagements. So Metyankey's going to have the red buff, and I love this choice because Hurriwind, of course, on the Raijin, he's the burst damage, he's the big man, but right now, 11 minutes into the game, 2 items on, building into a third. This is where Anhur kind of like is very, very strong. The passive with the extra penetration helps him just become very powerful. So the red buff here works out very well.
Look at this damage from the shred from Jigz, working together with the Anhur passive very, very well here. That's why they gave Anhur the red buff, because it does so much damage. Already 200 damage per auto.
Lawbster in trouble, drops the ultimate right on top of his feet. Khepri's gonna go there, and a beautiful move from the mid laner will prevent that, but just momentarily until Metyankey picks up kill number 2. Qvofred answers back, taking out the jungler, and now Jigz is the one looking to be aggressive, but he's waiting.
Yeah, I don't really know what Kalas was doing there. He kind of stole Lawbster a little bit because he threw his ulti on him and just kind of ran into the rest of Soar.
Right.
Maybe it was hard for him to go back to the other way because he was a bit scared of dying, but as soon as Lawbster respawned again, he just died instantly, so.
Metyankey misses the impale, so no stun for him. Qvofred already below half HP, just thanks to some of the basics coming out from Metyankey. Hurriwind gonna get jumped on by Xaliea, trapped in the cage as well.
Perfect cage.
No ultimate available for Hurriwind, so it's all about the damage, but there's a prevention. Up in the sky goes Funballer, not gonna find anything. Still Hurriwind alive, Jigz takes out Qvo, and Hurriwind now still in trouble. Can't find the last hits. Zeus gonna be boxed out by Baskin, and now Xalia's in trouble. Soar just protects their mid laner. Hurriwind winds up with a kill himself, despite having 10 HP.
Hurriwind lives to drum another day there. He just survives, somehow manages to escape Xalia's grasp there from the slow. Very well played by Soar overall. Very good showing of teamwork here.
And a very good play coming out from Soar, understanding that they have to go for the objective after the team fight, get a couple of kills themselves, go right for the Gold Fury. And now early on in this game, Zim, 13 minutes on the clock, Soar find themselves up 4K gold.
4K goal lead. I would say that's a pretty big deficit here at 13 minutes already.
Yes.
We've seen similar things happen today before, and it didn't end up so well for the teams that actually had this deficit. Paradigm used though to be on the back foot. I mean, Lawbster very experienced in feeding and coming back into the game later on.
It's actually interesting, you know, jokes aside, Lawbster does wind up with the majority of deaths on the team and allows his team to go ahead and come around and he facilitates, which is why a god like Zeus is fantastic, because you can drop the ultimate on your feet. Hurriwind has the same role on Soar, where he picks these burst mages, and he's the target of the enemy. So what happens is Hurriwind winds up with a large number of deaths, but it's all in the effort of facilitation, and everybody else on Soar come together after Hurriwind gets collapsed on. So both of these squads have a similar feeling with their mid laners.
Stat-wise, though, Lawbster a little bit better off than Hurriwind. Doesn't matter that much, though, if you're not winning this actual game. Lawbster, again, on the Zeus, is going to do a lot of damage late game, regardless of how much it's dying early. He just needs to get those levels for the detonate, right, and for the chain lightning and the ultimates. However, he needs to be a bit careful here. He already has 3 deaths, 3 assists, though. Most deaths in the game.
Rotation over here on the right-hand side by Soar. There's 3 players deep. Looking instead for the blue buff rather than just straight aggression onto the kills. But Paradigm have responded in kind. Colossus here. Looking at Baskin all by himself. Not going to be able to find much of anything. Hurriwind, Qvofred already half HP. Even lower thanks to some of the other players. Jumping forward is Baskin. Beautiful ultimate by Colossus. And that's going to save the life of the jungler.
Perfect play there by Colossus. Saving Lawbster, getting me out of trouble. However, I think Paradigm is not going to engage here again. They realize they're way weaker at this point in the game.
The ping's coming out. They see Metyankey. Paradigm don't want to engage too hard, even though Metyankey all by his lonesome. And instead, Soar going to commit to a tower. This tier 1 tower going to fall down. Really nothing that Paradigm and Xaliea can do about it. So 15 minutes on the clock. Tier 1 tower falls down for Soar. They're pushing to tier 2.
Oh, here we find Kalas again, getting caught out. Oh, excellent ultimate there.
And there's the ring to trap players in. Qvofred gonna drop his ult and the hammer, but there's a stun coming out from Jigz. Big play coming out from the supports. Bunch of ultimates expended, but Soar still here. Sprint running, Baskin in front. Not gonna find it. Kaloss, very low, dash backwards by Jigz. Hurriwind forward, takes out Kaloss, and now the collapse. Here's Hurriwind in his own ultimate. Baskin gets one on a Qvo. Homiefe gonna dash away, but Baskin so deep, he's gonna have to play it safe, and Soar get a couple of kills, but it's time to go.
We see the power of Guan just keeping everyone healthy throughout that engagement and prior to it as well. Now the 3 players of Paragon try to defend this tower. I don't think they can fight at all, they just have to give it up.
Soar's looking to fight though. Lawbster stuck and gone. Homiefe with that one. 2 players still getting aggressed on, but it doesn't matter. Soar's gonna turn around, and what looked like a situation that Soar had to retreat, that Soar couldn't get it, 1 extra kill winds up getting the tier 2 tower. 1,500 extra gold going the way of Soar, and looking at the gold differential, 8,000 in the lead of the North Americans.
Lawbster overextending yet again there, just getting caught out. 4 kills on him now, 4 deaths, sorry. He's not looking that good, to be honest.
Yeah.
We have a Khepri we talked about before. The thing is though, if Khepri is such low level, when Lawbster comes back to life, also being this low level, he's most likely just gonna die in an instant anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter anymore. Maybe they're better off just using an ultimate on someone else.
Both of these hunters going soul leader here. This is something we saw earlier in the day.
On a Melito, right?
Yeah, but not necessarily earlier in the season. I mean, soul leader is an item that looked to have been almost completely avoided, almost completely ignored. Why the soul leader choice here?
Because when you're on this kind of environment, a LAN, international, especially against really good teams, you want to make sure your hunter doesn't die because you need them so badly for the objectives. Yeah, towers and gold fear and everything. So these are just to make sure your hunter stays safe and they stay healthy.
So in these situations, it's a little bit less predictable than the regular season. We'll see the hunters build a little bit more tanky and defensive. But of course, that doesn't mean no offense. So Chinsai going to be followed up immediately. The full buy of Chinsai coming out from Metyankey there. He's been holding on to gold for a long time.
Yeah, now he has a full chain size there against Funballer, who just started. He just had the first part. This means in a 1-on-1 situation, Anhur is going to beat Rama every single time.
Baskin's going to go right on top of Lawbster. Here's the ultimate from Hurriwind as well. Sanctuary is good for the moment, but with Homiefe here, not forever. Baskin, credit for that one. That's 4th for the solo laner. Still push and go. Kaloss ultimate, going to be waited out. Qvofred, it's gone now. Looking for the turnaround. Hurriwind gets one. Kaloss in the jungle. Metyankey's going to find his own. And then he's going to turn around. It's a 1v2. He's already got one. Looking for the basics. Beautiful play. That right there, that's the soul leader.
Fumble's going to have him here.
Oh, he missed the impale. That's it. Funball winds up with the kill. Metyankey tried, but Metyankey could not pull it off. With that said, the rest of the team, mid lane, tier 2.
4 members of Soar just pushing through the mid lane here. Neat 1-on-1. Oh, it was really a 2-on-1 there by Funballer and Kaloss. Sure. Really close call there for Funballer. If the impale was hit, that would have been that would have been a D side for sure.
If that impale gets hit, that winds up being a 1v2. And then, of course, we saw the soul leader trigger. You mentioned how important it was to keep your hunter alive because of this situation. Well, Soar's hunter's dead, and they're still able to take the gold fury. That's just a sheer amount of numbers. And then, of course, don't forget, the rest of the team was able to do so. So now, Soar, 15 kills, tripling the amount of kills that Paradigm have been able to find themselves, and over 10,000 gold in the lead. Zimp, Soar look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and Zeus here, Lawbster and Zeus, going actually for, I believe there will be an ethereal staff to just stop dying so much.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine him stacking a Warlock Sash this late into the game. However, that will not increase his damage by that much, and you saw there the engagement on top of him. He threw down an ultimate because the entire combination of damage off did almost 0 damage.
Well, when it comes to Zeus, his damage was really from the ranks of detonate, so he's looking more for the experience. In fact, frequently we find Zeuses with full defensive builds coming out because at the end of the day, you can't just ult your feet, hit detonate, and find a lot of people either dead or in kill threshold. So Lawbster's going to look to build a little bit more defensive, as he's definitely the focal point, and there it is. Selling the starter item allows him to finish the ethereal staff.
You have a point. He's gonna, sure, as he ranks up, he's gonna get more damage, but I also think that at this point, he's just gonna die anyway, right? Because Soar just that far ahead. I think he should just go for more damage and just try to get it out and just use the Khepri ulti effectively. And because right now he's just getting jumped on, uses ultimate, right? And then he gets ulted by Khepri. So he just comes back to life and does 0 damage. The Khepri ulti was almost useless. So maybe just going for more damage and more penetration instead early, trying to at least get him to 50-60%, and then the rest of the team can just come in.
Might be the case for Lawbster. We'll see how he adjusts his build as things go on. Soar wound up taking another tower pretty uneventfully. Just walk up, Jigz walks in, and allows his hunter to do the work.
He has almost no gold if you compare to Hurriwind on the other side. It's almost 3k difference here, which is almost an entire ethereal staff at this point.
Everybody on the side of Soar is above 10,000 gold. In fact, some players above 11. Nobody on Paradigm has even sniffed 10,000. The highest is Funballer with 9,600. So just a sheer amount of gold on Soar. I mean, what a huge lead. And Metyankey shows no signs of stopping, just pushing up into this left lane tower, and he's able to put out damage onto the structure.
As it's looking right now, a lot of people have, hyped up this game. Paradigm Soar is going to be a really interesting game. It's looking more one-sided than we saw Enemy and the LATAM team or OMG and Panthera. Those games were actually more even than this one at this point.
It's actually funny, Zimp, that you say that. We've had a lot of surprising games. I think OMG versus Panthera #2 was a lot more exciting than people thought. And I think Eager versus Hungry for More was a lot less exciting. Right here, as you said, Soar seemed extremely potent. A little bit one-sided here versus Paradigm. Paradigm absolutely have to stop the bleeding. Soar is standing here. They're just standing here.
Yeah, nothing's happening. Not even an engage attempt by Xaliea with the ultimate combination of Lawbster, even though several people really can't get out that ultimate because they know there's no damage. So what they're trying to do now is just stall. As you mentioned before, get those levels onto the Zeus so you can do more damage, but it's just not going to work out. There's a lot of potential for Soar just going here.
Baskin's going to jump on in. There's the towel. There's the ultimate on the Qvofred.
Wow.
And there's the death on the Qvofred. 16 for the North Americans. Going forward is Hurriwind. Drops the ultimate out of Zeus, but nobody's in it whatsoever. Jigz even gets to the outside without the Odin caging him in. Tough stuff for Paradigm as Soar's coming down the left lane. Colossus's ultimate on himself. And Homiefe says he doesn't care. Phoenix being focused. Half HP for the Firebird. Homiefe got to get out of there, but Jigz, he'll tank it up just a little bit, and the Phoenix falls at 22.5.
So Zeus ultimate ticked for 71, I believe, onto the Guan there, and 220 detonate. I mean, that's just unacceptably low damage. They're not going to find any kills with the Zeus that's this far behind. Is now maybe building towards maybe the Chronos Pendant. I don't really know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a really rough game. Funballer gets brought down to half HP by a single blink forward. Hurriwind absolutely on his front foot. 5-0-9 for the young mid laner, and just so much damage coming out from Hurriwind. He's able to just find these targets, combining with the Nemesis. Look at Quvo. Now it's his turn. Baskin comes out. Baskin puts him down. Hurriwind again with credit. What an incredible game that Hurriwind's having right now.
Hurriwind absolutely dominating Paradigm right now with this Raijin. Such strong ultimates, hitting almost everybody every single time.
It's not even just the ultimate, Zimp. It's everything. All of the abilities coming out from Raijin are on point. Jigz is tanking the Phoenix. The Hunter's attacking it. Hurriwind and Baskin are attacking the backline. Hurriwind's finding another surprise kill. Soar right now are up almost 20,000 gold in 20 minutes. That's absolutely incredible. It's disgusting, and I think a lot of it has to do with Hurriwind. 7-0-9 on this Raijin with 21,000 damage.
Several times we've seen Hurriwind just tag someone and jump in, teleport in, and delete someone instantly. And every time he just ultis out and survives and just turns around and does a lot of damage to the entire team of Paradigm.
You know what doesn't wind up on the scoreboard, though?
The ultimates from Nemesis?
Exactly. Nemesis' ability to just open up that window for Hurriwind. We're seeing all this damage from Hurriwind, but don't forget what that ultimate from Nemesis does.
Yeah, it shreds so much armor. You see, every time now that you see Qvofred going in on the Cabrakan, he gets deleted instantly. He didn't have time to do anything that fight. He just died almost immediately.
Nobody has any protections. Homiefe drops the ultimate, Metyankey hits the basics, the Tallow Assault comes out from Jigz, and then Hurriwind comes up and says, hey, remember those items? They're tissue paper, and just bombs the enemy in the front. Beautiful composition from Soar. They're executing it flawlessly. These guys have had an intelligent draft, and they're bringing it to the battlefield, and it's just absolutely incredible what they're able to do to Paradigm.
So, also another thing here to know, we talked a little bit about Zeus build here earlier. Going for the defense is not going to do anything against a team composition like Soar has right now. Because if this Zeus gets strong enough and he's also tanky, he's just going to be the one eating the Nemesis ulti instead.
Free Fire Giant goes the way of Soar just by way of the pressure. We see Soar take out those early Phoenixes on the opposite side. Intelligent choice of which targets to choose. Left and mid lane, Phoenix is down, means that there are fire minions pushing up those waves, so Paradigm have to tend to their own home, defending against those lanes, rather than able to come and fight against the Fire Giant. At this point, Soar's got a ton of sustain and a ton of power, and they're ready to go ahead and fight the last Phoenix.
Yeah, let's see here how well Paradigm can fend off the Hurriwind himself that just has been tearing through this Paradigm lineup.
And look at that.
See just that poke, just almost half HP.
And that's without any of the shred that we were talking about earlier. Baskin's going to shade over to the left, to the mid lane, and go ahead and just clear out some of these minions, allowing the fire guys to go ahead and shift in. Soar right here, this is interesting. They're not going for the final Titan push right now. They're looking for the fight in the Titan room because they're just that far ahead. If Soar can find 2 kills here, this is game.
Yeah, you see the Titan dropping very, very low. There's the ultimate,
two,
it's dead,
three,
it's dead.
4,
GG.
see you later. Chaos Titan dropped. 26 minutes on the clock, and Soar have one of the most dominating games we have seen here at DreamHack.
You see Hurriwind just waiting. When the Titan was 50% HP, just went up at his ultimate, he just killed it right away.
Right there. We don't do it for individual games, Zimstar. That's my MVP.
That's I would agree with you.
Easily.
Absolutely.
No contest.
He had huge impact in these team fights.
Oh my goodness. I've watched Hurriwind play for a long time. We're talking years here. And he's had great games. He's had good games. And we joked about him taking a couple of deaths. That is the best individual game I have ever seen from Hurriwind.
And to do that, what better place to do that than at DreamHack Masters?
This is where it matters. This is where you're playing for it. $250,000 on the line. The winners, of course, in the finals right now. Paradigm, they had some stumbles. I mean, that's putting it lightly. This is a best out of 3. They're not out of it. Where does Paradigm turn it around?
Look, so I'm pretty sure at the end there, if Nemesis just ulted someone and Hurriwind went up into the ultimate and just used the regular, not the CC ultimate, he could have just killed someone 50-0, which is just an ultimate. So I think maybe get rid of Raijin and respect the Nemesis a little bit more, especially if you're gonna go for like a triple tank lineup like they had. Just make sure, you know, you're not getting shredded that hard.
And you said shred. That was the intelligent composition that I touched on in here. Almost every single character on this roster for Soar was able to take away protections in some way, shape, or form. So just being able to do that was a big deal. You see Coach Bickham behind them right here. He's a big part of their picks and bans, at least here at LAN. And, you know, he's a very smart guy. We've had him on the commentary desk once or twice before, and no doubt in my mind that he was an integral part of picking those individual characters.
Yeah, Soar's composition worked out very, very well. Paradigm needs to maybe, you know, go back to the drawing board here and rethink how they're gonna approach this game.
Look how comfortable Soar looks right now. I think that's the biggest thing for me at the moment, is that Soar, they just look so comfortable. They have no problem. Paradigm, on the other hand, it's written on Qvo's face.
You see Qvofred trying to take the lead here, you know, hand gestures, everything. He's trying to make sure this does not happen again.
Yeah.
I know you can see Lawbster here and Laser kind of, you know, trying to figure out with him what they should do next, and they're all chipping in. I love seeing this stuff from Paradigm. There's no like bad emotions or anything.
Yep.
You can see they're just trying to figure out this code. How do we beat Soar next game?
I think that's the biggest thing. You saw Qvofred make that sort of face like, oh no. And I think that's where Paradigm is stuck right now. This is all the stats from the game, and I mean, this is 24.2 thousand damage out of the mid lane Hurriwind. That's really the stat.
Lawbster did do a lot of damage though. I think that damage didn't really come as as burst, right?
Yeah.
It was most like a sustained damage over the time course of the game. He fell a bit behind. The rest of the team fell behind as well. There's not much he could have done, to be honest. I think they just need to rethink the composition and again respect the Nemesis, because that shred. And also I want to point out here that Baskin and Ravana just dominated Xaliea during the early game.
Oh yeah, early game, mid game. I mean, Baskin, and that's sort of the story about Baskin, right? Baskin is just this incredibly powerful solo laner that's going to bully you. Xaliea has some tricky characters, and honestly, if I'm Paradigm, I think that's where I think I'm going. I don't necessarily look for Xaliea to be this sort of powerhouse against a character like Baskin. I want to see something a little bit more tricky. I'm not saying Loki, but I'm saying something a little bit different that allows Xaliea to be a little bit more comfortable in his own body.
If there's anyone who could actually pull that off, that would be Xaliea. We've seen him with the auto-attack-based Fenrir before, with a lot of lifesteal, a lot of attack speed. Actually go for Odysseus bow and Ikavala and stuff like that. It'd be fun to see something similar to that instead of all these warriors. Maybe, I still don't think it fits Xalia's place. Maybe Ravana even, because then you actually get to hit stuff, be aggressive, and have control of your own lane. Odin, if you fall behind like that, you're just gonna get poked, and you see several times just standing in the tower trying to farm.
These guys definitely talking it over right now. One thing, you're Coach Paradigm. One thing that you change.
I'm
just
Dazer.
one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, if I'm Dazer right now, I would just make sure that the guys don't get too depressed of this loss. I mean, after all, they're playing with a substitute. Just make sure he's okay. Just make sure like he understands that it's not on him. It's a team effort, right? They can't really put the blame on him. He played, you know, sometimes he was a bit late on rotations, but you know, that happens to everyone. He had no notable plays where I saw like, oh my god, this is Kala's fault.
Right.
I think it was a whole effort. I mean, Xaliea didn't do that well in the solo lane. The dual lane didn't really do anything. Lawbster in the middle got absolutely dominated, and Qvofred never got any momentum.
And that's one of the problems when you're playing a god like Cabrakan, who's really looking to have that front foot forward. So Dazer right now trying to work out some of the issues in that pick ban phase.
I love this. I absolutely love how they're taking this approach going to the next game. They're not, you know, hard-headed and just trying to blame each other, just wanting to get this over with.
Right.
They really want to define their win condition here. I think a big word for Paradigm and an important one is win condition. I feel like sometimes they don't really understand what the win condition is. They just try and go in. I mean, some of these players are amongst the top skilled player mechanically in the world. No question about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in this position they are in. But I feel like sometimes they don't understand what they need to do to actually win the game. Whether that be, you know, make sure we get this character fed, or maybe we make sure Lawbster gets big. Instead, it's like this reactive play instead of proactive.
And that's the opposite of what we saw to Soar, and I think that's why Soar was so powerful and honestly so successful in game number one. They had a clear strategy, picked some bans, said, okay, we're going to dictate, we're going to strip a lot of protections, and then Hurriwind's going to jump on in and make sure to delete 1, 2, 3, 4 different players, right? This time around, we need to see Paradigm have that same top-down strategy.
Yeah, and that's a big part of their inconsistencies. I think they have a hard time defining what they need to do to win again. Right. And, you know, I truly think they have it in them to actually win game 2. They just, again, need to make sure that Kalas is not too upset about this loss. Make sure this is a team effort. And it looks like they're ready to go in with a new, fresh mind. Exactly.
Like, I think you said the biggest thing was about this squad is when they all sat around in a circle and they were just talking. There was no hot-headed emotion. There was none. You didn't see that. Maybe they're talking with straight faces that we just don't know. But it certainly did not see from this distance that these guys really had an issue in that regard. So on the other